Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, the rootin' tootin'est podcast you ever did hear, and we're here to talk about Tacoma beer in all kinds of ways today, and probably some ways that you might not expect. My name is Matt McLaren, and I'm here as always with Ron Swarner.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
We are Sans One Sean Jackson today because Red Hot Chili Peppers are in town.
Fair.
So fair.
Yeah.
We'll make fun of him for it next week. And then our esteemed guests today are people that I'm really excited to talk to about a very special event and series of events happening in Tacoma over the next 10-ish days. But Kyleigh Palmer is here with us. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
And then Gini Sommer is here as well.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing actually very well. Thank you.
Good. So for anybody unfamiliar, this is 2/3 of Tacoma Beer Week, and really the majority of, or a large majority of beer procurement and logistics at Brew 53, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, public festival that happens in Tacoma every year.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really wonderful beer, food, music, all put together by people who are deeply tied into the Tacoma community, and it really shows in the quality of product that gets put out. All the music is great, the beer is great, the food is so good, and it's a ton of fun. So we're going to talk about all of that today. But first, Gini, what are you drinking?
So I did have to look it up twice. I'm just going to call myself out there. It's Spider City Brewing Deer Hunter IPA, and they're from Bend.
All right. Shout out to Bend. There's actually going to be some Bend representation at Brew Five Three.
There is.
Spider City is actually relatively new to this area.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to have it, because I've never had it before.
Good. Have you had their stuff yet, Ron?
I have. They're women-owned, right?
I believe that's true.
Yes, I've had.
Another good reason to drink it.
True. Yeah, everything. It's another small distributor like us who brings it in, and it's a relatively unknown brand. But everything I've had so far has been super solid.
Yeah.
Kyleigh, what are you drinking?
I have the Maritime Portage. Is that what it is? From a Pilsner.
The Pilsner?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice, clean, fresh, smashable.
Good call. Good warm-up beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Ron, what are we drinking?
We're drinking Structure's Raspberry Juice on Juice. Compliments of Ben Chase from Rainer Growlers.
Hashtag none of us deserve Ben.
Hashtag that, for sure. It's delicious.
It is. It's so good.
Yeah.
He was just up in Bellingham grabbing things for a Tacoma Beer Week event.
Correct.
Which we will certainly talk more about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not quite in the group of people who have been tied into Tacoma Beer Week for a long time, and Ron sort of uniquely has been there since the beginning, and then Gini and Kyleigh have also been huge chunks of that for many years, and so it'll be interesting to hear, like, at least I hope it'll be interesting to hear, like, what actually goes into organizing things like this. There are big popular beer weeks, especially on the West Coast, that people will fly, across the country to attend because there's just so much cool stuff happening, and Tacoma is really bringing it back for the first time in a few years. Obviously, we've all been shut in for a little while. We've done small sort of iterations of beer festivals online, which has been awesome and successful as far as I can tell. But yeah, this year will be the first year we'll be back in person, and there's a lot of people who have dedicated a lot of time and energy to making it as awesome as possible, and a lot of them are sitting here.
Right. But one of them is missing.
Yes.
One of them
Yes.
is missing today.
Our fearless leader, Zebrax, who started Tacoma Beer Week, is under the weather today and cannot be here with us, unfortunately. So we wish them very, very much love.
For sure.
So it's March 3rd, 2014. It's the inaugural Tacoma Beer Week. I'm writing a beer column at the Weekly Volcano. Tacoma Brewing is brewing out of the former Amocat Café. Seven Seas is only in Gig Harbor. The Copper Door will open a month later. Pacific Brewing and Odd Otter will open up at the end of the year in 2014. Wet Coast is just a dream. And SIG, Black Fleet, Peaks, and Pints, Edison, Gig Harbor Brewing, Brewers Row, Beer Star, they aren't a thing yet. But in that same year, in February, Joe Waltz from Narrows Brewing, who came from Ale Asylum and then eventually went back to Ale Asylum, and sadly, they closed recently.
Right.
He was at Narrows. He was the head brewer and the founding brewer, and he went around to Wingman, Puyallup River Brewing, Tacoma Brewing, the Ram, and the Harmon, and asked them all to collaborate on a Belgian-style black IPA called the Tacoma Neo-Noir.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah, that was the very first Tacoma Beer Week collaboration beer.
I actually saw that conversation because I was doing the chalkboard art for Tacoma Brewing, and they were sitting there, and Bethany, who was the brewer at the Ram at the time, she's like, "There's another girl here. This is amazing." I'm like, "I'm only doing the chalk art. I'm sorry." So I got to hear that entire conversation of how they were trying to figure out how they wanted to brew this beer and start this thing. It was very interesting.
Say it one more time. A Belgian
style black IPA.
Yep. Yeah.
It was unique.
Sounds about right.
So the Red Hot tapped it first at the opening ceremony. Zoe got on the bar and just dropped every F-bomb possible. Just one after another. It was like Sailor Week.
Yeah.
And then all the breweries eventually tapped it, and then as well as the Parkway Maxwell's, which is no longer, Puget Sound Pizza,
Rest in peace, man.
Pint D, Maconi's, Pacific Grill, the Swiss, and Doyle's all poured it. And they brewed 20 kegs of it.
Wow.
And then maybe there were 5 events that week, and mostly it was the breweries brewing their own beer for the week and tapping it.
Yep.
Really wasn't much to it. Tacoma Brewing whipped up a complex coffee maple and orange creamsicle, Aristotle's Golden Mean infused IPA from his tiny system in that old cafe. And then the Ram, which was Bethany then, before she opened up, before she went to Pacific Brewing,
That's right.
she brewed a cast Belgian blonde with peaches.
Which was very, very good.
It was.
It was very good.
Narrows went with a oatmeal stout, honey, and then Harmon went with coconut honey porter, and E9, I can't remember what they brewed, because they weren't part of the collaboration either.
They were not, and
No.
I can't remember what they did either, but they did come in at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Eric at Puyallup River Brewing, he brewed a beer because in honor of the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl, and We Are the Champions IPA.
Was that year?
It was.
Oh, damn.
And then at the end of the week, the Parkway tapped them all the
Yeah.
kegs. And,
Of course.
yeah.
That was
Sean probably got on his bar, and he probably said an F word,
Probably.
He didn't get on the bar, but there was a stool involved. There was also a random couch across the street that ended up in the Parkway patio before there was a Parkway patio. And there's several people who are brewing that you just talked about, and myself drank a lot of beer watching people walk by on this couch that we had no idea what had ever happened to it before. So obviously we were tanked by the time we sat on that couch. But that is how Bethany Greer and I all got to know each other very well.
Nice.
Two of the most prolific beer makers in Tacoma. just
sitting on a
shooting the
couch.
shit on the couch in front of the Parkway.
And then the years after, there were more and more events.
Yes.
So that was kind of the origin story.
That was. Exactly. It was the very first one. It was low key. But it kicked it off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so now 8 years later, pandemic later, and lots of as Ron said, this was pre a lot of key beer places in Tacoma, and the fact that it started back before most of these places were contributing to this community is insane. So it's great that it's coming back in person for the first time, while.
In modern age, 2014 was a big year for Tacoma Beer. That's
Yeah.
where a lot of places opened.
Yeah, it was a really great year.
That is true. That's actually that's about the year that I really got. That's probably the year that I got into this industry in the way that I am now. I think Mike Davis probably told me at the beginning of that year about the Cicerone program, and that's when I started.
Yeah.
So, yeah, weird year for Tacoma Beer. So the big kickoff for Tacoma Beer Week is actually, like we said, is Brew 5-3. And Jenny and Kyleigh are huge chunks of the organization and beer procurement there. So can you guys tell us about Brew 5-3?
Yeah, sure. So it's Tacoma's Beer and Music Festival. It's here for its 9th year. Outdoors, dog-friendly. We get that question a lot. And so we shut down Broadway between 9th and 11th Streets and turn it into a big block party, basically.
Yep.
So we have live music, local bands, food trucks, and then about 35, mainly Pacific Northwest breweries, cideries, mead, seltzer, and then a number of local sponsors who jump on board and help provide the funding that makes this a great success. And it's just a lot of fun. You know, it's usually a great summer day. You just get to chill out, sit down with your friends.
It's supposed to be like 80 degrees this year.
There's not so much sitting. You just walk around and drink.
Walk around and, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And the focus is community, and it's also a fundraiser for Tacoma Arts Live and their arts education and access programs. So it goes towards the work we do there at serving more than 50,000 students, parents and teachers a year through different education programs, our work with the Wounded Warriors at JBLM, and then allows us to take our arts programs into neighbourhoods, out of buildings, out of downtown, into neighbourhoods, and also goes to help making the historic Tacoma Armory, which is our brand new home that we're about to own.
That's
I think they're signing the papers soon.
We're about to
This
own
this
that.
week. This week.
Thanks to the generosity of Fred Roberson and his family. And,
Not to be on a tangent, but the stuff that you guys have done at the Armory so far has been like unbelievable. Like I've never, like my kid has been so excited to like attend all of the things you guys have organized there, and it's
and
it's amazing.
And owning our own space means that we can put on community-free events. We can make it easily accessible to the community, and being where it is in Hilltop, we want to make it really an anchor point, and that everyone in Hilltop and around feels like that it's their building. So
Totally.
That's the type of work you're supporting when you buy a ticket to Brew 5-3 and you support everything.
Tacoma history lives on.
It's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why Fred came to, David Fisher, our executive director, fearless leader. Fred came to David and said, I own this building and I want it to be a part of the community. I don't want it to be torn down. I want it to do arts things. We want it to do community things. And David is just as crazy as the rest of the arts community. And the beer community, and he said yes, and that happened about 9 years ago. So I've worked at Tacoma Arts Live / Broadway Center. For those of you who didn't know, there was a change, and this is my 11th season. I'm going into my 12th season right now. So I was there when Fred came to David and said, "We want to do this." There was wine involved, not beer, unfortunately, but. But you know, it's a really good thing that Fred does, and he does that around the community in order to preserve Tacoma, because we don't want to be Seattle. We want to be gritty, and we want to keep our structures. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we do a lot of free events there, and this event is one of our main fundraisers. It's also a great touch point for community. It's a great gathering place. We also manage on behalf of Pierce Transit Theatre Square now as well. So it's a great way for us to activate that space in the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
And then I think another thing that sets our beer festival apart is Gini's involvement in telling the breweries what they should bring. So it's not, just bring us all your IPAs. I am. It's not like, just bring the stock standard stuff you bring to festivals. She gets the people who don't normally go to festivals come to the festivals, and then she gets them.
Damn sure.
I know. And then she gets them to bring the really good stuff they might not normally bring to festivals. Gini,
I try to do that. So this year, I do have to say, I do have a lot of help from Matt McLaren and some other people, Lee from
Brower Polska.
But I mean, but me staring them down also helped. So I do that. Just saying.
She does.
But no, we have a lot of great people, and SIG is coming on. This is their second beer festival they've ever done. And I literally went in and said, why are you not supporting your local neighborhood? And John, the owner's like, I'm sorry, Gini. And now he's pouring all day. So be nice to SIG when you go there. Just saying, everybody. And you should all come, by the way.
I should also say this was Blackfeet Brewing's first festival just after they opened in 2019,
And they won.
They took out People's Choice Award.
Right.
that year.
That's right.
So that was their first festival. So it's good luck as well.
And they're coming out with some really cool stuff. So a lot of people don't know about the really cool stuff in Tacoma specifically. And so I try to get as many Tacoma breweries to participate and bring something new so people want to try different things. It's not just IPA. It's just this year we have a lot of Pilsner lagers. So it's like a Pilsner Lager Fest a little bit. But we also have a lot of sessions. We have 4 sours. We have SIG's actually bringing one of their seltzers, and I have to be honest, I am not a seltzer person, but if you can convert me like SIG has, you've made an effort.
It's good, man.
It's really good. I bought a whole crawler of it the other day. So, and then we also have really awesome people that don't normally go to, like Weiss Beer is coming. They're a brand new brewery. Their head brewer has brewed with awesome people, and this is a really good find. So if you're a nerd and you want to try something incredibly new, it's great. We have
This will be for most people. This will be the first chance that they get to try Weiss,
and
and it's one of the biggest kind of new hot things in beer at the moment. And if you want to try some of that stuff before it really blows up, Brew 5-3 is going to be it.
So the only other time you might have had Michael's beer was Beer Nerds, and if you bought a Brew 5-3 kit when we were not doing Brew 5-3 in person, we bought the Nerd beer, which was an ESB
from Fort Side.
From Fort Side, and
right.
it was a beautiful beer. And if you need to know what a beautiful beer is, you can find me on Saturday, and you can ask me my opinion about beautiful beer. But no, and so we have a lot of different people. We have 2 meaderies that are really awesome, and they're doing great things. We have a lot of cideries that are coming, so I'm just really excited. And we also in the industry, there's a lot of women-owned breweries. There are a lot of other people of color breweries that are coming specifically, but they're not coming because of that. They're coming because they make a really good product and they love beer. And I want to support people who love beer.
Absolutely.
My question to you is, when I drop my glass, and it will happen, will it shatter or bounce?
I don't know. I haven't tried yet. That's tomorrow.
Is it glass or
It is
plastic?
glass.
It's glass.
Okay. Is
So
it a full pint like glass?
No.
Okay.
Or it's a
Because
5
people
ounces wine.
overpour.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's a
Way to
festival,
blame
you guys.
the
We gotta make some money. No, but it's a 5-ounce glass, and you get 6 tasting tokens. And if you're really nice to me, you might get 2 extra.
Oh, hunt out Gini on the day.
Seriously,
a lot nicer than
man.
I'm just going to follow you around all
Get
day.
inundated.
Actually, if you
It's going to be a conga line.
yeah, there are secret code words right now at if you release it for Friday at 11:59 p.m. At E9 and at Wet Coast. So if you pop in there or
That's right.
call them and ask them for their secret code word.
Or if you go to the Tacoma Beer Week site and you see any of the promo places that are releasing the Grit and Glory beer that E9, Wet Coast, and Tacoma Arts Live made together, at all of those places, there'll be a promo code for discounted tickets to go on Saturday.
So if you have not bought your tickets to Brew 5-3, starting on Friday at 5 p.m., you guys can check out any of the pre-funk events that are listed actually at the Tacoma Beer Week website. They're all tapping the beer. It's a wonderful. We just went to the E9 release. We just came from there to here, and it's the beer is amazing. And when you're there, like they said, you can plug in some coupon codes for discounted ticket prices to Brew 5-3 if you have not purchased them yet. So go out, enjoy the actual official beer, and then also save some money on your tickets.
I love being able to say I made the beer. I basically prance around and take pictures and tell everyone they're doing a great job. And then I'm in the photos and I'm like, yeah, I totally made this beer.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
There actually is a photo because Grit and Glory.
No relation, but still, it's all right. It's okay.
No, we're not doing wood things like, this is not a carpentry podcast. So, no, Grit and Glory is gritty Tacoma and glorious, air quotes,
Gig Harbor?
Gig Harbor. And so that's the whole point.
We love our friends
And
in
that's
Gig
the
Harbor.
same.
Says that.
Please come to Brew Five
Exactly.
Three.
That was the point. But that's where Grit and Glory came from. We all laughed so hard. Obviously, there was drinking involved, but it's actually a really good beer.
I'm making fun of Wet Coast every time I see it. Is that really?
It was Paul's idea.
It was
Yeah.
okay. Oh man.
It was Paul and Katie's idea.
Oh, that dude's getting ripped.
Gig Harbor
on me
was
later.
involved on the joke. We love our Gig Harbor friends. We think you should come to Brew 53.
I
We
know
do.
we do.
No, we do. No,
It was a Gig Harbor joke.
It's honestly slightly less pretentious than us calling ourselves gritty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how up your own ass do you need to be?
It was totally, and none of the brewers liked it. It was all the salespeople who came up with it. I'm just going to point that out. So
We know it sells.
Yeah, at least they made a good beer.
The beer is so
and
good.
the beer is really good. And I know I'm studying to be a cicerone with Matt, so Matt's helping me. But I know this is not a cicerone thing, but it is fluffy. So if you taste it, it has like this character of softness. It's not overpowering. It's really easy to drink.
Absolutely.
So
Which is perfect. You can have multiple of them when you go to the pre-funk event.
correct.
And Brew 53 doesn't start till 1 p.m. the next day. So you've got time to get a good brunch downtown.
Think about that.
And it will
head
also
in.
be at Brew Five
It
Three
will be
at the Wet Coast booth.
Yeah. So you can try it there as well.
Just Ginny, I didn't say this when you were in here, but just so you know, multiple breweries of mine have called me and been like, "Hey, so Ginny said I should bring something crazy. What do you think?" And I'm like, "You know what? Just listen to Ginny. Not gonna just do what she says, and it's fine."
It's true.
I wish
So-
everybody said that in my life.
I have at least some of the breweries that I have convinced to come are. It sounds like they're bringing some fucking heat. So
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
everybody is ready because
really
it's going to
depressed.
be awesome.
I'm really sad that I'm not going to get to drink until hopefully 6.
I don't get to drink
So-
at all.
I know.
So I hope some of you are going to hold little
Me neither.
secret stashes for me.
I know.
So I can do it after I've kicked all the people out.
What bands are playing?
So we open with Champagne Sunday, which I'm
Nice.
sure we all know. Great,
Yeah.
great local band to kick it off. Then we head into, I think from there we go to
James
Coates Band, which
Who
I'm really
is
excited about.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and actually I'd like to shout out to him. He's been doing a lot of social media work promoting Brew 53, so great work, James.
Fun
He
fact.
did a show at Spanish Ballroom recently,
I heard it went well.
he tore it down. So good.
Fun fact. The day I came up with Peaks and Pints idea, he was playing.
So he,
Nice.
again, he's magic.
Yeah.
Like
Magic.
you have to be there to see it.
Yep.
Then we open the second session at 5 p.m. with Island Bound, which is another really popular band that people, actually I saw someone tonight who was like, wait, they're coming? I'm like, yes, you should buy your ticket.
I saw him in Olympia recently,
Yeah.
and they so their niche is 90s top 40,
Oh, that's
but reggae.
Oh, that's perfect.
And the woman, her voice is so good, and the vibe is so perfect. But yeah, she would they did a reggae version of a Mariah Carey song, and I was like, oh my god,
my goodness.
I can't wait to see these guys at Brew Five Three.
And there is space for dancing near the stage, and we always towards middle and end get a little dancing.
Totally.
And then we close with Blue Wave Band, who we've worked with before, and they're really good. Get up and dance, have a little fun band, a good time. So this year we've gone for 2 sessions. So we used to run it from 1 till 8 straight through. And it just, the brewers are staffing the stand all day. There's no chance to go and get food. There's no chance to use the bathroom. So based on their feedback, we've gone from 1 till 4. Then we have a break with no beer. Their sponsors will still be playing games and doing stuff with people. The food trucks will still be open. So if you have an all-day pass, you can stay or you can go and come back at 5. And then from 5 till 8, 8 will be the last call, and we do that. And the People's Choice winner, you can vote for that throughout the day, and then that will be announced at 8 p.m.
You
as
can
well.
only vote once.
You can only vote once. That's true. We have systems in place. We'll see how well they work, but they should work. It's pretty good.
Don't come complain to me when you want to vote for more than one.
No, if you did it too early before you scouted the whole place, that's on you. That's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot. Just so you guys know, the 2-session thing has been a huge deal for a lot of we all know everybody's kind of understaffed,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the fact that they can sort of just rely on a single day with an actual break involved, and there's still festivals that are coming back and haven't really considered the logistics and considered how it affects the actual breweries, which is a huge chunk of all of this. And so, yeah, they've all been very appreciative
That's
of your
great.
guys' actual consideration.
Yeah. And
We do that with all of our shows, but when we do an event like this, we also do it with our collaborators, which are the breweries, and like Peaks and Pints and Red Hot are huge partners of Brew 5-3. Can't leave Ron out. Of course not.
I mean, he's
but
sitting right here.
But no, we actually do read the feedback and we do take it into consideration. So if you go see a show and you don't like something or you do like something, we listen to it. And that was besides ice, which I never want to hear about ice again in my entire life. We know you need ice, brewers. We know. But other than that, all the other feedback is actually taken into consideration, and that is why we decided to do this break. And then COVID also had an influx, but it was really because the brewers' feedback of needing a break.
the one thing.
As we were walking in here, I was going to ask you what I should do about ice.
Oh, don't even say those words.
And I'm like,
Do you see my face right now?
yes, I do. It's not.
Look, they get ice. There
I'm
is an
super
ice
uncomfortable.
It's ice cold face.
There is not. Yeah. I mean, the other thing
You'll get an email tomorrow.
Yeah, right. The other thing that we
look for
like to do is hook into local places to send people after the event or before the event, like who's putting on brunch, that type of thing. So
Totally.
this year, if you have a wristband, you can go to Odd Otter on Pacific Avenue and you can enjoy $5 pints till close. They'll have live music later that night as well.
Awesome.
Or you can go to Sig Brewing and you can get, I think it's 10% off your bill. There are some restrictions. I don't know what they are. Go and ask them. But that's a good deal. So we try. We know that thousands of people come downtown. It's all about supporting local business. So once you've finished, if you just come to one session, go and have a good time at other places. And then if you come all day, go. Also, I know this is really boring, but just so you know, the corner of Commerce and 9th is shut. So there's no traffic through there. I know we're going to get a lot of people questioning that. The intersection is completely closed.
You can go to the City of Tacoma website and you can complain there about how they did that.
This is going to benefit
Gini,
us
shut
all.
up. We just got into the trib. Crap.
Yeah,
You must repeat several times.
Yeah, it's
Imagine
going to
the-
benefit us all in the long run. But just if you're coming and you want to park at the Dome station or anything, there's an adjusted bus schedule, and it runs on Pacific, not Commerce or something like that. So
Right.
go and look it up. But don't just assume you can cruise in your normal way to Broadway.
I bet you the Tacoma Comedy Club's not laughing about that.
Oh, I can guarantee it.
We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, actually, we have a few special beers to try out while you guys are hanging out, and then I want to get into some Tacoma Beer Week stuff too. Actually,
Awesome.
we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back. We'll keep the break going for just a second to tell everybody about Channel 253. A huge supporter of ours, and Doug, our wonderful producer, is Channel 253. And as we say every week, if you would like to stay connected to Tacoma, the community of Tacoma and the city, Channel 253 is a great way to do it. It's a network of podcasts, all run and hosted by community leaders and members, and they talk about all sorts of things, the stuff that you would probably find important if you do want to stay connected. So check out channel253.com/memberships to listen and support those guys. Thanks as always, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
It's membership? Oh, okay. That's right. I've been saying it okay. It's membership. It's fine. I'm trying, memberships. There's packages.
There's a reason why you're a beer buyer and not a marketing person.
I'm just a glass half full motherfucker. Speaking of glass half full, we actually just poured a wonderful beer
Yeah, it's delicious.
that I don't know anything about because we just don't get a lot of Australian beer
No.
in Washington.
So in case you didn't notice, Kyleigh is Australian.
Yeah, I'm not from here. Just to make that clear.
Just in case.
My
I thought that was a Des Moines
My
accent.
husband did try and convince a drunk lady once that we were from Vashon Island and that there was an Australian enclave there from refugees who'd moved 100 years ago. She bought it. And then I kicked him out of the party and explained that wasn't the case. So I am not from Tacoma or Vashon Island.
Or Vashon.
I am from Australia.
Shout outs to Bubbles on Vashon.
Yeah, so what we were drinking is a La Sirène. It's a Darebin wild ale. A Darebin is a place close to inner city Melbourne where I lived. And it's an oak-aged spontaneous wild ale. So basically, La Sirène started mainly as a Saison brewery, and they made such good Saisons. That's how they first got known in Melbourne. And then they moved into this wild fermentation, so they just have the pits and the, whatever flora is floating around goes into the open pits, and then oaked and barreled, and
You should write a beer book.
With all my very technical terms and my arm waving that clearly translates on a podcast.
Could be a pop-up book.
Pop-up book, yeah, exactly. So it's local. It's near where I spent, nearly 8 years, I think. Yeah, nearly 9 years. And I think I love this.
It's delicious.
I love this.
It's very good.
Yeah, and we bought this at, it's a Garden Path up north towards Bellingham.
Shout out to Ron.
Where?
Other Ron.
Yeah.
Burlington, up that way. They have a lot of sours and wild ferments up there. So on the way up to Canada,
We've gushed about
Mount
Garden Path
swing by
in
and
previous
Burlington.
episodes.
Burlington way. So they have a good supply. So that's one of the beers we brought in today to have a little sample. Something a little bit different.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is delicious. Well, yeah, shoot. So, as we said, Brew 5-3 is kind of the big kickoff to sort of a separate but connected event and series of events, Tacoma Beer Week. Ron obviously just gave us kind of a brief history of how that started, but it's kind of evolved quite a bit, especially as Tacoma Beer has evolved in the past 8-ish years. But yeah, this year there's all kinds of fun stuff going on, and it seems very robust for having just come out of a 2.5 year pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you guys have been, you guys have been crazy hard at work for months now putting stuff together. So how's that been?
It's been good. I think the pandemic...
Not if you don't want to relive your trauma.
No, sorry. I mean, the pandemic really ruined a lot of stuff.
It did.
I mean,
we had such great plans.
we had such great plans.
And they were going to be fantastic. And now it's going to take us 3 years to get back to that fantasticness. But, no, this year is going to be great.
Yeah.
Actually,
So 2019, we had, I think, between 35 and 40 events. And it ranged from the super fancy, I mean, remember the golden ticket bus?
Yes, I do. And the fact that I can say I remember
fun.
all of that is amazing.
Yeah, with Peaks and Pints and Parkway. And it ranged from that right down to Mario Kart competitions and spelling bees. Like, it ran the whole gamut of different experiences. So we went into 2020. We did, actually here at the Parkway, we did a brewer meeting. We got a bunch of brewers in, and we're like, we came up with a mission statement for Beer Week, and we said, this is what we're trying to do, and this is what we'd love to do with you. Let's work together on planning and volunteering, and let's start in January. It's a novel concept, but let's make that happen.
Let's do it.
But yet we're all artists and brewers, so planning is
and
not
my
our forte.
regular job is wrangling artists, so I know we have to start really early.
Dude, I make this joke all the fucking time, but wrangling artists
It's fun.
with marketable skills is the fucking worst. And I love everybody that I work with. But every time they're like, hey, I'm going to make a weird thing. And you're like, hey, can you please just make a thing that people want to buy? It'll still be good, I'm sure. They're like, nah, I'm going to make this weird thing.
yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, I can't.
And on their timeline.
Yeah,
not my
exactly.
timeline. Which is why we were like, well, if we start talking about this in January, by the time we get to August, we should be sweet.
Nope.
So we had great plans. And then, of course, that was the year, it was pandemic year. So we, everything was shut down anyway. And so our message was like, when you go and do your shopping, buy local, do
Totally.
what you can, but stay the fuck home. Like,
Yeah.
keep us all protected, right?
Yeah.
2021 came around, and we said to venues, we're only, if you want to do something that's great, we want to know that you're looking after your people. We're probably not going to show up because, we all live with vulnerable people or
Sure.
people in our jobs or whatever we're trying to look after. And we're not going to do anything super official. And then we only promoted that year places that we trusted. Peaks and Pints did a couple of little things, and Parkway,
4.
really small. Really small.
Yeah.
Narrows did some
Yeah,
stuff.
and maybe some outdoor, but we were just like, we're not coming back while it's still not safe for everyone.
Totally.
And so here we are. We're still not at the end of the pandemic, but we're in a position where we can go ahead a little bit more. And I
Feel
think
safe.
for what we're doing is fantastic. But the mission statement, well, what we came up with the aims, everything that we try and do, I'm going to read it so it sounds official.
Please.
Yeah. So what we came up with is what we try and do. So we promote the appreciation of good beer to a wide audience through fun, innovative, unique, and educational events. We elevate local businesses, breweries, and venues, highlighting what Tacoma has to offer to both residents and visitors. And we celebrate the rich history of brewing in Tacoma. So for us, it's not just focused on breweries. Like, it's local business, and how can we pair breweries with local businesses to attract attention to both? And how can we celebrate venues? And how can you find a new venue that week that might be doing something a little bit different that you haven't been to before?
Right. Or how does it connect with you in some way?
How does it connect to community? So we're excited to be back, and shout out to you, Matt, and also Gary Burkhardt for all your work, because
Even though he's a bit of a shit, we still love Gary Burkhardt.
he is in the room, so we are saying it to his face. This is not a behind the pack insult. No, it's
Awesome.
it's been great. I mean,
I wish he wasn't here so he could just
I
fucking,
know. Well, I just want to make it clear we say what we mean to people's faces.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah,
5 minutes. Yeah, fuck
exactly.
that guy.
I mean, you know what? Like, we've got a website back up that has the events on. That's all we need right now. We got big plans, and we can talk a bit later about the future of where we see it going.
Totally.
But we're back.
Everything
Things are
is
happening.
stayed true to the pillars of
Those, everything we do goes through that lens. Everything is
Totally.
focused on that.
Are your livers ready?
Oh God, no.
I mean, that's a lot of
here's the
events.
thing.
She might not be ready, but
It's
I've
been 2
been
years.
planning.
She's been preparing her whole life.
Yeah, it's true.
trained my whole life for this.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that we try and get to the three of us to every event or venue at least once, just to say thank you to the people who run the venue and to thank the people who came to the event. We'd like to show our faces, which means we actually have to drive a lot, which
Yeah.
means that we don't really have the opportunity to drink more than when someone hands us like a little thing. However, there are some events this year that I am not driving at, and I'm already planning to take the next morning off because they are really good.
I've already taken the next morning off.
It's on my list, and Tacoma Rats Live, my leave form will be in soon, but I'm owed some time after Brew Five Three, so I'll be spreading out the following. But there's some such good events that I'm like, this year I'm not going to drive.
Nice.
I'm happy to drink at a few events, so
Good.
yeah, that's where I'm at. So
Will you be posting photos? I think so.
yes,
Always.
always.
Even if we look ridiculous.
No, I like to look good. I
Those are
won't
the-
be looking ridiculous.
I will look ridiculous. It's fine.
I'll post ridiculous photos of all of you.
On
Well,
fa- on
and Gary
Facebook?
already made sure I look ridiculous because one of my ultimate favorite events of all time is Hoppywood Squares, which is at the Parkway. And if you ever wanted to be aware of your life process, is getting into a scaffolding made by Jim. And you don't know if you know it's going to stand up because he doesn't drink until it's done. But there's a scaffolding. If you've ever heard of Hollywood Squares, it's a bunch of beer people sitting in squares talking shit, and that is, to me, the best. But I mean, we all love the community, so that's the best part.
It is fun
and then
You
Gary
just described
picked
the entire pillar of this podcast. Just
Right.
so you know.
And Gary picked one of the
Strong,
worst pictures
legal,
of me, but there is
legal.
a poster that's going out that I will not be circling. But, I do want everybody to sign it that's on that poster, and then we'll hang it up in my house. But, no, that's one of my favorite events. But, no,
So that's Hoppywood Squares.
Hoppywood Squares.
Next Saturday.
Yeah,
Yes.
on the 13th.
At the Parkway.
Yeah, at the Parkway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so many more.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we do beer and cheese. I remember pitching that
Yes.
idea to you, Matt, saying, like, we need some food in here. I guess
course.
because, having come from beer weeks in other places that started really small and have turned into some of the biggest in the world where people fly from around the world to go
Absolutely.
to that. I've seen them start small. Melbourne started small and progressed. And for me, food is such a good way to get people involved
I
in
agree with
beer,
that.
especially if you're nervous about it or you're not really sure how it works. So I remember sitting down with you and being like, what can we do? Like, let's do some cheese. Let's do something. So
Which is 100% my wheelhouse.
exactly. I'm like, let's talk.
A nerdy home cook. We've talked about the whole Cicerone thing, which
Yeah.
is a program that I've run through. And a huge chunk of that is knowing food and knowing
Yep.
how to pair beer with food. And food is so engaging and everybody loves it. And it's very
Exactly.
easy to get people engaged in beer when they are thoughtfully paired
Yeah.
with different foods.
And I think what we try and do with Beer Week and what we started making a conscious effort to do in 2019 is we put out the map. And we knew that a lot of stuff was concentrated around, let's face it, the big places
Sure.
in town. And so we were like, well, what do we need in other neighborhoods? And we started approaching, pre-pandemic, we started approaching places in outlying neighborhoods. We're like, we're here to help promote you. We have social media, we have email lists, we can help you come up with ideas, but we want to make sure that it's not a, the same 3 or 4 venues, the same, we want to make sure everyone feels like they have a stake in Brew 5-3.
Of course.
We basically don't want to, Seattle Beer Week is awesome in some ways, but it's also not awesome in the fact.
Hang on, Gini.
I'm calling it out.
No, go ahead. Go on that.
Because I'm
go
going
on
to.
that.
Because you go to your district and you never leave your district. You don't explore the city.
Okay.
I had more to say, but we'll leave it at that.
Right. I could
We are not here to make enemies with
No, that wasn't what I was going for. So, no, but we want in Tacoma, a lot of people are like, I only go to Peaks and Pints or I only go to the Parkway. And I'm like, well, what if you experience a different part of Tacoma and then it's not so scary? Because it's all one city and we're all one community. Aww. You have to go from one place to the other. And then beer, yeah, I know you're all dripping. I see you, Ron. But I mean, but no, it's true.
Way to turn that around.
I would say Tacoma Beer Week.
It's true, though.
We're not interested in just like a bunch of tap takeovers.
Correct.
That's what happens
not
a
what
lot
we want.
at other beer weeks around here. For us, it's coming out again with our mission, innovative. And
Sure.
it could be what is off day slushies and songs like
Slushies
open
and
mic
serenades.
and serenades. It's Disney, drink for Disney. Come in your Disney character. Ron, I'm loving the top hat monocle situation you've got going on at yours.
Thanks.
But
It was Matt's idea.
So I have to say that one of my favorite things that Ron ever did for Beer Week, though, was the Big Lebowski bowling thing. I met so many industry people and also watched Ron bowl with a rug under his arm and a robe on, and he almost hit himself with a bowling ball multiple times because he had a robe on and was bowling and he refused to put the rug down. So it was a great time. Just saying.
I mean, you never know what you're going to encounter. At the
Correct.
week, I'm going to say
It's about having fun and meeting new people and getting to experience new places that you haven't been before.
Yeah.
Everything you say now, Jenny, has an air of like, fuck Seattle. Just saying, like, your tone changed so much.
Not gonna lie.
We love Seattle.
I
Beer.
know.
We do.
We do love Seattle, and we have a lot of Seattle breweries.
Yeah.
No, go say but. You sound like you were going to say but just now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say but.
I do. I have to be honest. Stoop is one of my ultimate favorite breweries, and they're in Seattle, Michigan. I mean, I can go on forever about beer, but their beer week is not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like a redeeming quality. Anyway.
Yeah, I think as well, what we want to do is make beer accessible. And so that's where I think,
it's
Matt,
true.
you and I have moderated panels and like different things together. And honestly, Tacoma is full of beer nerds and it's a great
very
thing.
true.
It's so great. But it's very intimidating if you're like on your first steps to your beer journey. And I know that when we do the panels and things, I try and come at it from that perspective. Like, there's a lot of inside baseball, lingo, acronyms, and an assumption that everyone you're speaking to has some level of understanding. And so it's, part of what I'm trying to think about is what is going to draw a newbie in who's like facing a whole row of taps and doesn't know what's happening, which is why I like the food events. I like the music and beer events. I like those type of events where, people can feel comfortable. Especially, I learned about beer from women because they introduced it with food, or they were like, this isn't actually that scary. You know about wine, you know about science, because I did a lot of stuff in wine. So it's like, just translate that to this.
Yeah, all of it applies.
Yeah, all of it applies. And then and then I started, helping do things with beer. And then my friends would text me and be like, I went to a brewery today and I knew what to pick because you showed me what to look for, like in words.
It's so satisfying.
not as scary
I
as it
know, it's
seems.
not as scary. So I love that we have the crazy beer week stuff, and I will be in some of that this week or next week. But also it's like, what can we find that is educational and breaks that down, which is where I think the cheese is a really good option.
For sure.
Where later on we're looking at bringing in beer dinners and things like that, where you feel comfortable, you're a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you're being introduced to it in a way that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done, so like as a as like a host of those dinners. It's something I've done many times, and I like kind of as you said, it's not a beer week that's just full of brewers nights. I am very much not just like a brewers night type person. It's an industry standard event. Most people listening have probably been to something that was like just a brewers night, and like they're fun, but they're not the most engaging thing. Getting a free T-shirt from a brewery is probably not going to be the reason that you pick out that brewery next time you see it, but if you go to a beer dinner and you have somebody walking you through why this particular beer is great with this particular food, chances are the next time you see that brewery, you'll probably try it. Or the next time you're eating food, you'll think about your beer selection a little bit more seriously. And the most satisfying moments in my career, which is long now. It's almost 10 years in this industry and kind of in this capacity, have been doing beer dinners and having guys who are like, I'm not really a beer person, but like, this Belgian double with this Ossobuco is like the most insane, delicious thing I've ever had, and I've never thought about beer with the food that I'm eating, but I'm definitely going to now, and that's like, that's the most satisfying thing, and the more people that experience beer in a way that is accessible and engaging, like your life will get better. Like it's just it's like an easy way to improve time spent at a bar anyway.
Matt McLaren just said drinking beer will make your life better.
Yeah, true.
It's true.
Being thoughtful about the beer you drink will make your life better.
I mean, in Australia, it's probably the same here. The reason we drink wine with meals is because of the excellent wine marketing in the 1980s.
Yes.
That is, like, they killed the marketing, right?
Totally.
And left everyone else behind in their wake. So I love being able to talk about pairings and putting things together.
Absolutely.
And just breaking that down. And I love with Tacoma Beer Week that we can have such a breadth. And, we are back this year. There are a lot of events, but we're still a little bit, limited. Everyone has staffing issues. Not everyone can do what they really want to do. But hopefully this is a sign of what we can do going forward.
So if you're listening, do follow Tacoma Beer Week. Obviously, all of us have worked a lot on this sort of thing. And if you don't yet, follow it on social media, check out the website. And, there's going to be all kinds of fun, engaging events this year, but there will be certainly more to come, years to come. So if you haven't yet, follow now. And it's going to be awesome.
So, Ron, what did you pour us?
The Anchorage No Sleep Coffee Stout. Pretty delish, huh?
It is delicious. Doug. Good, Doug?
It's
Doug's over here just like, son of a bitch.
Oh, my God. Wow.
This is so good. It's good.
So,
really good.
I have to be honest.
Lots of lip smacking in this one.
Kyleigh likes beer.
Yeah, I do.
She doesn't love beer.
No, I like beer. I don't like sours. Never hand me a sour unless you want to see my sour face.
It's true. But when Kyleigh went,
now.
OMG, that's
I do. I just, I like a lot of good beer. I know what I like. I was saying that earlier. I can't even remember. There's 2 hops I know I hate. I can smell it a mile away, and I know I will not like that beer. But I will try everything except sour.
That's fair.
Yeah. Unless people
it's 130 beer styles.
Just give me time.
For you.
Yeah, I mean, I started on, Belgian, and then I went straight to dark beer, and then God, give me a Scotch ale or a red beer.
Yes.
Oh God!
So I believe you 100% because we did a small. So Kyleigh and Gini are in the industry as much as any of us are. They organize one of the largest beer events in Tacoma, and so we've been doing classes for little kind of professional development things. And one of the ones that we did was sensory analysis, where we kind of put a bunch of different ingredients on the table in small cups and let everybody try them. There was honey and cereal grain and plum sauce and all kinds of different flavors and aromas that you might get in beer. And I put some mystery beers in front of the whole group. And Kyleigh picked out a Belgian quad immediately. And there was other seasoned professional beer drinkers and beer professionals in that group. And Kyleigh was like, "Oh yeah, this is a Belgian. This is a Belgian quad."
That's exactly
really awesome. This is plum. That's exactly what this is.
I was very proud.
I was like, Jesus, dude.
I don't know all the fancy words and all
Thank
that
you.
stuff,
Good night.
but I do I do love beer. I love him. If you don't like beer, you just haven't met the right one.
It's
my opinion.
That
That's
is
my
correct.
opinion, and we'll find the one that you like. It's just we're gonna get there.
This is a good week to do it.
So I have to say, when I first got started with Tacoma Beer Week, working at Broadway Center, Tacoma Arts Live / whatever, there's a person that we work with who never really drank. And when we go out, she always couldn't find something. She started liking ciders, and then we took her to Pacific Brewing. And I had to leave. I couldn't stay. And she called me an hour later. She was like, I drank a whole beer, and I liked it.
Aww.
And it took me a year to get her there, but she went from drinking Diet Coke to drinking a beer, and I felt very successful with that.
I think Sean compared this to the Crusades on their first
Yes.
episode.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other beer.
Famously now.
Yeah. But that's the whole point, is getting somebody to actually like something. You don't have to like it all the time, but enjoying what you're drinking and buying it because you actually enjoy it, not because you think you have to drink it. You don't have to drink anything. We happen to love beer, but you don't have to buy it. And so, but if you can get somebody to love it, you will have a market forever.
It's very satisfying.
The other drink I really love is whatever Sean at the Parkway puts in my hand.
It's true.
He knows exactly, and Nick, exactly what I like. I am one of his barleywine buddies. As soon as I walk in, if he's got something, he's like, I got you. I have been not messed up, but close to messed up by Sean being like, I got a bunch of new stuff for you.
We all love you for your modesty, Kyleigh.
Look, at that time, I only lived a block away, so it was fine.
We're actually pretty close to out of time, but where can everybody follow you guys and get the information that they need?
Yeah, so head to tacomabeerweek.com. Follow us at Tacoma Beer Week. The best channels are Facebook and Instagram. All the links to the events are there, and there's still things being added. So Beer Week runs officially from the 6th to the 14th of August. And then to buy your Brew 5-3 tickets, head to tacomaartslive.org.
Awesome. Nice. Thank you guys so much for hanging out.
Thank you. It's been great.
This has been fun.
Ron, you want to
All
take us
right,
out?
Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and photos of Swimmer each. We read and drink everything we receive, and we'll respond quickly as we can. If not online, then on air. You can subscribe to Grit and Grain on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. And please leave us a review. Also, check out Channel 253 and gritandgrainpodcast.com. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. Always remember to look both ways before changing your mind. No such thing as a bad time to visit Tacoma. No such thing as too much barley wine. Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Grit and Grain is part of the Channel 253 podcast network. Check out our other shows: Nerd Farmer, Interchangeable White Ladies, Move to Tacoma, Crossing Division, Citizen Tacoma, What Say You, We Are Tacoma, Flanders B Team, and Taco Man.
This is Channel 253.